Hello and welcome to another episode of Rico's Rants. I'm your host, Rico DiGiorgio. All right, before I begin, and Steph is going to walk through the door any second, that's okay. And here she is. Um, this is the new logo for the podcast that I co-host, Pod Askew. So I just want to give a proper shout out of the art to the artist who did it, Mike. Is fucking phenomenal. That is my co-host CJ, and that is me. It looks like a bit of an old photo, but I think it's the contrast is CJ is just no matter what, I'm always going to look huge compared to him because he's just skinny, skinny, skinny. But I love it. I love the fact that I have like cartoon fingers. Like I have 3 fingers and a thumb. Like I look like Mickey Mouse just like shat me out in the world. I love it. I love the fedora. I love the tie. I love this. I love everything. The only thing I'm going to have to comment on is if I end up quitting smoking, Mike's going to have to delete that little cigarette right there. But anyways, love the font. Love the thing. I now feel like I have a brand. Mike, sooner or later, you're going to have to do one for Rico's Rants. I'll even pay you. On that note, I went and saw a movie. It was a marvelous movie, but it wasn't that marvelous. Captain Marvel. Like, I don't know how to fucking just... Like, the setup was real weak for my delivery for this, because the movie wasn't weak, it just was one of the not strong ones, for me. Now, going into this, I have got to talk about the controversy of there's a lot of just pus dripping from their mouths, fucking misogynist and sexist fucking men going to see this movie. I don't know, I don't know what the fuck you guys want. You want comic book movies, but you think that a woman leading the fucking movie is bad? But you're totally going to be okay with a Black Widow one? I mean, I could see the argument of we don't know who Captain Marvel is. We don't know who we know they're shoving this character in and she's supposed to be essential for Endgame. I mean, what are you complaining about? Let Marvel fucking do their thing. Marvel's doing fine. They don't need our opinions. Ironically, I'm about to give my opinion, but that's a whole other thing. I trust what Marvel's doing. I trust what Kevin Feige's doing. I trust what Disney's doing. Even when they fail, I'm still happy. Like, and they didn't fail. Like, even Iron Man 2, Thor 2, whatever, 2, I'm fine with. I'm happy these movies are getting made. Give me a Captain Marvel movie. Give me an Ant-Man movie. Give me a fucking Silver Surfer movie. I don't give a shit. I'm just so grateful that these are coming out. Good or bad, I'm glad. I mean, that's I have a whole different opinion on that when it comes to DC, but DC has been failing. That's the difference. So Captain Marvel, first off, I liked it. But I also liked Iron Man 2. And I also liked Incredible Hulk. And I also liked The Dark World, which I consider one of the weaker ones. So I liked them all. What I didn't like was... Hold on. Sugar wants to get up on the bed. Okay. What I don't like was that there was this... I think Marvel is possibly sort of pigeonholed themselves where they've done so good that now I'm just going to be disappointed. Like, Infinity War was so damn good that anything apart from possibly Endgame is just going to be, yeah, it's good. It was pretty good. It wasn't Infinity War, but it's good. When I walked out of Infinity War, it was what I imagined people in 1980 walking out of Empire Strikes Back. Not walking out like leaving, but like they just saw the movie and they're like, what the fuck? And I've talked to people who saw Empire in theaters and they're like, oh man, you didn't know. We were like, what the fuck was that? Vader's his father. Spoiler, sorry. Vader's his father. Han gets frozen in carbonite and taken by Boba Fett. Fucking, it just ends to quote Clerks, on a fucking, just a dour ending. Infinity War was my empire. And I think I was hoping that Captain Marvel was going to be another A New Hope or a Return of the Jedi or something. And really, Captain Marvel was kind of a Star Wars Episode 3. Like, it was actually, it was more like a Solo or a Rogue One. It was like, I had a good time, but what the fuck? I want to know what happened to Han and this culmination between Vader and Luke. Like, yeah, okay, thank you for the appetizer. Where's my goddamn entree? And I was really hoping Captain Marvel would do that, which would feed into Endgame. Like, oh, you gotta see this one before you see Endgame. No, you don't. You really fucking don't. For those that are like, should I see Captain Marvel before I see Endgame? No, you can skip it. You really honestly can. The only thing that is, again, spoilers through this fucking movie, the only thing that's worth mentioning that ties it into Endgame is the bonus credit scene. And the bonus credit scene is so minor for Endgame because they don't want to fucking reveal anything for Endgame. It literally is Captain Marvel going to the other survivor. Oh, the screen. Oh, no, here it is. Sorry, the screen just went through a backlit just for a second. It does this thing where it goes. Oh, no, it just lowered by itself. Oh, well. There we go. Thank you. So I just hit the directional pad or something?
Yeah, you just cut.
Okay, just fucking with it. Sorry. What was I saying?
Technology.
What was I saying? You don't have to see. It just shows Captain Marvel hanging out with Captain America and Black Widow and all the survivors that survived the snap. And it's really just a second. It's them fucking with the pager and being like, run it again. And then Black Widow is turning, and then she turns, and Marvel is right there. And she just looks at them all serious, and she says, where's Fury? And then it ends. You're like, oh, but we knew that. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that because we know Captain Marvel is going to be in Endgame. We know that. So the movie itself of Captain Marvel is kind of predictable. You kind of know what's going to happen. You kind of, going into this and seeing Marvel movies for 10 fucking years and knowing what they're going to do, with the exception of Infinity War, didn't see that coming. You can kind of just say, that's the villain. They're going to fucking do this. That's going to person's going to die. They're going to fall in love, blah, blah, blah. And they will throw these curveballs here and there. But like going back to Iron Man 1, you just knew Obadiah Stane's the bad guy. Spoiler. Or going into it, you knew that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Ego was going to be a bad guy. You just knew. Like, he was going to be their version of Vader fucking with his son. Like, you just know. And I think Marvel fans and moviegoers we're smart enough to know. That being said, even though I knew what was going to happen in my own mind, I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed Captain Marvel like I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp. I had a fun time. I enjoyed it. I'm glad they made a movie. I'm glad there is a Captain Marvel movie. And I'm a fan of Brie Larson. I've always been a fan of her from the United States of Terror. I thought she was great in that show. All those fucking criticisms of her not showing any emotion in the trailers, you're just wrong. To a degree. She does kind of, Brie Larson does do I interpret it as her as a soldier. She is just, I'm doing the mission. I don't care. I'm not here to crack jokes. I'm just boom, boom, boom. And I like the story-wise of it, where it's sort of an unconventional origin, which was she already has most of her powers in the beginning of the film. She just has that ability to blast fucking laser beams from her fucking hands. So when you see her in the beginning, she doesn't have a memory of her previous life as Carol Danvers. She is just known as Veers because she has amnesia. She's raised in fucking Hala, um, which is the Kree planet. Now, I thought this was interesting, but admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about Captain Marvel or the Krees or the Skrulls. I know the Skrulls are usually the big bads, and they're shapeshifters, and they look kind of like fucking lizard people with point. They look like green elves. And they could be anybody. They could be you. They could be me. They could be CJ. They could be anybody. Um, they, I kind of saw that it was going to be a refugee thing. It was going to be a twist that the Krees, who are usually for the most part, the good guys, with the exception of Ronan the Accuser, you can just kind of assume that, well, he was just a renegade, random, Kree that just turned bad. But this movie implies that most of the Krees are kind of fucking shitty, and the Skrulls just want a planet. They just want their own sanctuary. They want peace. So I did kind of appreciate that slight twist, but I also did kind of see it coming. I gotta going back to the cast, Brie Larson does a great job, but I want more. I think she could do better. I want to see how this character fleshes out and how she becomes more charismatic and more comfortable in her own skin. There were some parts I think that they missed in this movie because she is essentially a fish out of water, but she's thrown back in her own pond. She just doesn't know it. But I would have liked little things to progress where she really kind of like, this is familiar. Why is this familiar? Like, she crash lands in a fucking Blockbuster, and there's a part where she kind of looks at the back of a VHS case. I wanted there to be a quick shot of her, like a scene of the movie. Like, she's like, why? That's weird. Why do I remember this? I'd have her just question that whole thing and then sort of piece it together. There would have been... I mean, we know what's going to happen. The audience knows. But it would have been really interesting to see the character have more moments of being like, I know this. Why do I know this? And sort of question herself. When she finds out her whole origin of where she was Carol Danvers and Earth, from Earth and blah, 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 it doesn't really hit that emotional weight that I really wanted it to hit. It just kind of was like, she just accepts it and moves on, which, fine, but that's not what I wanted. That's okay. The rest of the cast, Samuel Jackson looks great. And they de-aged him by like 25 years. Looks great. He looks like the Samuel Jackson from Die Hard with a Vengeance, Die Hard 3. But it also feels completely different than the Nick Fury that we know. This is 1995 Nick Fury. He's in a dress shirt, he's got a tie, he's slacked. He looks like a New York or LA cop, just kind of just doing his beat. He looks like a detective. He doesn't look like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He doesn't look like the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He doesn't have the leather trench coat. He doesn't have the shaved head and the goatee. I mean, shit, I look more like the later Nick Fury than he does. And he doesn't seem world weary. But I wouldn't say the effects that this movie happened in his life made him into the Nick Fury that we first see in Iron Man, the bonus scene in Iron Man. So there's more to Fury that I want to see, more than meets the eye, so to speak. Particularly with him and Alexander Pierce, played by Redford. There's a whole mystery of what the fuck happened between them and what else did Nick Fury do and blah, blah, blah. But I do like that Samuel Jackson was in this. And the CGI for him to be 25 years younger was very good and probably extremely expensive. And it paid off. Coulson, not so much. He looked a little plastic. I compare this to, I really thought the CGI in Rogue One for Peter Cushing as Tarkin was great. It looked like a young Peter Cushing. It sounded like a young Peter Cushing. Whoever that voice actor was did a spot on Peter Cushing. And then you get to Leia, and you're like, nah. That's kind of what this was. It was, holy shit, I forgot Samuel Jackson looked like that. And then, is that Coulson? Whew, wow. I mean, he's got better hair, but they really look like they just Botoxed the shit out of him. Like, just no wrinkles. Like, I got wrinkles, you know? I'm 27. Like, it's okay for Phil Coulson to have a little bit of wrinkles, but they just, plasticked his face. The other CGI is fine. Like, it has amazing scenes, and there's great fight scenes, but not ones that are like, oh! It was good. It was a good movie. But I really hold this movie high because it has probably my favorite Stan Lee cameo, or at least my most heart-touched favorite. Like, the cameos in all the other movies are great. I really like the one in Deadpool. I mean, I really like even just him, although excluding him as Hugh Hefner and Larry King, I thought was pushing it. Like, that was just, I don't like that Stan Lee is playing other people, and you're like, that's, nah. Although Larry King was close. Hugh Hefner, not so much. Unless they're implying that Tony Stark didn't recognize it. It was Stan Lee playing Stan Lee and not Hugh Hefner. And he's just surrounded by beautiful women. Maybe. That's a whole other thing. This cameo just took my heart and just, like, pet it for me. Like, oh, you like that? And I have to spoil it. Anybody who watches my shit knows I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. I mean, Pot Askew and Rico's Rants were inspired by Kevin Smith and Fat Man and Beyond and Babylon and Pot and Smodcast and whatnot. I mean, fuck, dude. Like, come on. So, to know Kevin Smith has been referencing Marvel for years, and then to see Marvel return the favor was phenomenal. And to have Stan Lee be the reference, like I thought there was a Kevin Smith reference where I assumed it was going to be Captain Marvel in a blockbuster, and she picks up a movie of Clerks or something. That's what I thought it was going to be. No, it's even better than that. There's that train sequence, or the subway sequence, where Marvel's on the thing and she's looking for the Skrull, who's an old lady, and she punches her in the face. As she's walking through, she hears a voice, and we know the voice. We just, know that voice. And it's someone reading a line over and over again. And she looks, and it's Stan Lee holding a screenplay for Mallrats. And he's reading his lines. He's rereading his lines and trying to rehearse his lines. Just him going, Excelsior, stand firm, true believers, and blah, blah, blah. It's so good. You have to imagine, the movie's set in 1995. What the fuck was Stan Lee doing in 1995? He was filming Mallrats. So good. My only criticism of it is that it just... Captain Marvel stops and looks at him. And they shared this smirk at each other. And it was just kind of Marvel pushing it, just being like, here he is, here's Stan Lee. Whereas I would have just have her walk by, camera pans, there's Stan Lee, Excelsior, and that's it. There doesn't need to be a wink and a smile. That's all I'm saying. I think for the story-wise, it would have just better just walk past. But all due respect to Stan Lee, he was phenomenal and is a national treasure. But it'd be the equivalent of, like, I don't know what if there was like a Batman movie and then they had a little cameo of Adam West, and then Batman just kind of looks at Adam West for a second, or like a mural of Adam West, and then just touches it and goes, and then keeps going. That's what I'm saying. It was nice tribute, not really great for the story. The cameo itself is amazing, but I'm saying the structure and direction they did, it just felt too right in your face. And I think subtlety can be a little bit better to a certain degree. So I love that. That's now one of my all-time favorite Stan Lee cameos. And the intro, Marvel was just like tugging at my heartstrings from the very beginning, where it's just like the Marvel banners rolling, and normally they have, clips of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor in the letters, but it's all Stan Lee. It was just like every Stan Lee cameo was just in the Marvel, and you're just like, I'm ready. Oh no! And the first thing you're just reminded, like, oh fuck. So, and then throughout the film, I'm going, oh fuck, throughout the whole film for a very different reason. Ben Mendelsohn, I do have to give a shout out, man. He steals the fucking movie. Like, everyone says the cat, then the cat steals the fucking movie. But Ben Mendelsohn steals this fucking movie. He is just great. He's one of the better parts of Rogue One. I loved him in a movie called Mississippi Grind, which is also, I think, directed by the same directors. So it was them being like, hey, fucking put you back in. And he plays one of the head Skrulls, and he's charming, and you feel for his character, because he is presented as the bad guy. And then, he's not the bad guy. He's just wants to do right by his people. There are parts where he is in Skrull makeup, and then he is in human form, where he takes on the role of a human in disguise. And I love that he does it in different voices. The Skrull, he's using his natural Australian accent. And then when he does the human, I read this is true, he based the voice on Donald Rumsfeld. Great fucking idea. And he's charming, and you feel for his character, and you want to see more of him. That being said, if I want to see more of Ben Mendelsohn, I want to see more of Jude Law. Jude Law, when I first saw the trailer, I had two theories. Jude Law is either going to be revealed as the bad guy, or Jude Law is the first Captain Marvel, and that's why he's a trainer for Captain Marvel, but he's also revealed as bad guy. No matter what, I knew he was going to be the bad guy. I don't even know what his fucking character's name is in this. It just escapes me. I don't have my phone next to me. Fuck it. His name is Jude Law. That's his name. But I knew he was going to be... That's what I'm saying. You just know that he's going to be the big bad, or at least a bad. That doesn't take away from his character. I still enjoyed seeing him on screen. I still thought he was a compelling bad guy. More compelling than Ronan the Accuser, who is in this movie. Lee Pace has a fucking cameo at best. I mean, he has slightly more screen time than Stan Lee. And he's billed on the fucking credits. Like, also starring Lee Pace. You're like, when the fuck is Lee Pace in this movie? 2 scenes. That's it. And they're like a minute each. Maybe 2. It is interesting how Marvel is, tying it in with the other Marvel films. This is set before Guardians of the Galaxy, which Lee Pace, Ronan the Accuser, is the villain of the first Guardians. So it's interesting to see this Kree, random, dude, before he's a big bad, still kind of trying to be a big bad. It's him without, the fucking blood on his the black blood on his face, or blue blood. Blood. How many times can I say blood? So it is interesting to see that character progress, but you don't see a whole lot of progression. It's, it's not blatant. So I'm curious if they're going to put Lee Pace in another movie and see, he just became total fucking batshit crazy. I'd like to see that with Jude Law. I'd like there to be maybe not a Captain Marvel 2 where they explore these characters, but I don't know how. Maybe they can throw that in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, have, some background characters, and you see that progression. Jude Law was great. I want to see more of him. Annette Bening, kind of underused, but for a good reason. And I actually completely forgot that fucking Annette Bening was in this movie. When she came on screen, I'm like, holy shit, fucking American Beauty. What the fuck? Okay, I'm into it. Completely forgot. And I will not spoil everything. You should see the movie, but I also will say the MacGuffin for this film, it is the truest form of MacGuffin, which is a MacGuffin is just a plot device just to get the fucking plot going, and it serves almost insignificantness for the plot. It's just there, boom, plot driven, go. And that's how I felt. Even with the Infinity Stones in the other movies, you knew those MacGuffins were integral to the real fucking story. They were subtle because you knew they were going to be a part of the grand scheme of things. This MacGuffin is the Tesseract again. This fucking blue fucking thing, I'm kind of tired of it. I'm kind of tired of seeing it. And also, I admit, it confused the fuck out of me because I had to do a quick timeline. I'm like, wait a minute. How does she have it? And I had to think, okay, the first time you see it is Thor. In the beginning of Thor, when fucking... No, I'm sorry. Captain America the First Avenger, I think, is when you first see it. Fucking Red Skull takes it from that village in Norway and takes it from Filch or Walder Frey, depending on how you look at it. Takes that supplies the weapons for Hydra, and then it gets dropped in the ocean. Howard Stark finds it in 1940, fuck, and then that implies that S.H.I.E.L.D. has it for like the next blah 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 years. So that means Annette Bening's character, I guess I'm spoiling it. Annette Bening takes the Tesseract in 1989 or something, 88, 89, and starts using this as her MacGuffin, as to her to progress. So they introduced it, but it fucked with my timeline in my own head, and I had to I had to look it up on Wikipedia. I'm like, where the fuck did the fucking Tesseract come in here? Because fucking, it had it in the Avengers, but blah, 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 and then blah, blah, blah. So it maybe I'm pretty well versed at the Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline. I kind of know my shit. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why the fuck does she have it? Maybe they said it and I was just kind of blown away and not paying attention for like a fraction of a second. I just missed that key dialogue. I probably should go see it again. Maybe fucking lasso Stephanie to come with me to go see it. And she flipped me off. So, plot-wise, was fine. It was just predictable. I didn't expect to see the Tesseract, and I didn't expect to see a fucking cat swallow it and throw it up later. Alright, now we got to talk about this cat. The cat, Goose, steals the movie, but also does I don't know how I feel about how this cat is the one that blinded Nick Fury. I love it and I fucking don't love it because it is kind of perfect because now Nick Fury can just like say any story he wants of how he lost his eye, but we all know that he just picked up a cat creature thing wrong because it's not a real cat, it's a flurkin, that mother flurkin thing. And it fucking blinds him, and essentially it's true. The last time he trusted something, he lost an eye. But they give clues little throughout the film of maybe this is how he lost his eye. Like he gets a big gash in his face, and maybe that's how he lost his eye. And then it's this, and then it's possibly that. They're always kind of like, hey, how's your eye? He's like, oh, it's fine, it's okay. And then he gets fucking scratched towards the end. And then it kind of, like, it's not immediately bandaged. It's just almost as the implication that it's not that bad. I wanted there to be another scene where he goes to a doctor, and he's just like, yeah, I got scratched in the eye by this cat, and I want you to take a look at it. And the doctor just fucking accidentally scalpels it by his mistake, be like, oh yeah, let me take a look. Oh my god, I'm so fucking sorry. Or another scene where like Nick Fury is on his way to the hospital. He's like, oh man, my eye feels pretty good. And then falls, and then like gets like a branch stuck in it. Like, it just kept hitting these little things. And I'm like, really? Okay, all right. Hey, you know what? It solves a big mystery. It wasn't that, we all knew. We all kind of had this theory that, like, when he's like, oh, aren't you the cutest little cat ever? And you're just like, the cat fucking scratches it, I guarantee it. And we were right. But yeah, the movie was fine. But then the cat swallows the Tesseract. And I'm just going to let you guys see that. And then at the end, the second bonus scene, it throws it up on his desk. Now, going to the desk part, one of the better endings is Agent Fury, before he's the agent, before he's director, sitting at his desk, typing on a thing, his proposal for the Protector Initiative. And he's just typing it up, and he's sort of like, you can see he's about to send it to the 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 directors of Shield, this proposal. And then he looks at a picture of Carol Danvers where she's at her jet, and her nickname is Avenger. And then he deletes the Protector part and calls it the Avenger Initiative. And that's great. So essentially, she is the first Avenger. She is the title character. She is the Avenger. I like that. I like that because we got Captain Marvel's the first Avenger, and then Thor is the oldest Avenger, and then you just have the OG Avenger. I like it. And going to my review, this is a 6.5 to a 7 of a Marvel film, just like Ant-Man the Wasp was, and Ant-Man was, and those are not movies where I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, it's the grand scheme of things. It's it's another appetizer, salad, soup thing before you get your fucking entree. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I still hold Iron Man to really high regard. I think Iron Man is substantially better than this, and I'm disappointed. I really wanted Captain Marvel to wow me. It didn't wow me. It just, it was good. I liked it. I'm glad I went. I'll see it again. I'm going to buy the DVD. I'm going to put it in my collection. But I want to see more. That's all it was it made me want to see more. So that, in effect, it did win, but it didn't, I didn't leave the theater satisfied. To give you a comparison, Wonder Woman, another movie-centric comic book movie, with a female lead and a powerful female lead, I liked better. I liked Wonder Woman more. I felt that Gal Gadot is not a better actress than Brie Larson, but for some reason she was able to show every single bit of emotion that I wanted that character to have. Whether it was her kicking the shit out of people and whatever, and kicking the shit out of Ares, or her screaming with fury and not Nick Fury, but like rage and heartbreak when fucking Captain Kirk dies. Or her gushing, seeing a little baby and go, oh baby, like, you could just kind of tell that Gal Gadot had more fun filming Wonder Woman than I would say Brie Larson filming Captain Marvel. Brie Larson did two faces, which was smirk face and scrunch development. I do like how the other character, Maria Lambeau, she was exactly what I wanted Lambeau to be. Just a perfect friend and a supportive friend, and was one that brought Veers to Carol, like, in her own mind. I really did enjoy that relationship. Yeah, that's sort of all I could say. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Did you guys agree with my review? Don't forget to follow Pod Askew. You can Google search it. It's everywhere. You can find it. It's on every platform. We have it on iTunes and Android and blah, blah, blah. It's easy. And we're funny. If you don't want to see this shit, you can just listen to this shit. On that note, bye guys.